All right, we're here with another episode of Drum Nomad with my friend Seve Sheldon.
Seve Sheldon here.
Seve Sheldon of Portland, Oregon. Seve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for coming out here.
Last night we had Caleb from Westcraft Drums on,
Yes.
a buddy of yours.
An amazing man.
And today we're out in your backyard. We got a fire.
Kinda.
Hopefully the fire department's not called on us today.
Hopefully.
That'd be rough. So I think this is an appropriate place to start as the woodsman aspect of your life.
Yes.
So Caleb mentioned that like for at least a few summers you did the commercial fishing
Two
thing
summers with him up there.
And he said that's probably the end of it, right? You're like over it.
I'm not over it by any means, but it might be the end of it, for now at least.
So what was that experience like?
It was great. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But I like working hard, having a good time when you're not working, etc. It's amazing. I mean, it's like a different place. I've never been to Alaska. Caleb obviously grew up there, so
Yeah.
we both kind of have it. We look at the same coin from different sides for sure up there. Both love it in different ways, I think. It was just it's so foreign, kind of, but still similar because it's like the Pacific Northwest still.
Yeah.
But it's just like 2,000 miles that way. And everything, the sun, the angle of the sun is just different. It just kind of like does a little
Just a
halo
little
around
circle?
you. Yeah.
Wow.
So just really like instinctual things feel different
Yeah.
in a good way. It's rough because it's a lot like touring. There's a lot of work and not very much money. Your camera's getting a little smoked out.
Oh yeah, we're doing good over there.
And I've been going away so much over the last years, and I was recently married, and so
Yeah, congrats.
thank you very much. I'm trying to be a better partner and trying to not leave every couple weeks. And as the touring was starting to slow down, then I still was able to fill a 6-week gap in the summers with this not very lucrative thing that takes me out of town as well. But I had a great time, and classic. On the other end of the phone to her, I'm still like, I don't want to like tell her when days are rough, So I'm usually like having a good time, drinking around a campfire constantly. So she hears me having a good time.
Yeah.
And really, I'm having a good time, but like trying to because it's kind of rough sometimes, and
Everything's got its ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. It felt so similar to tour, but especially by the second year. The first year was all kind of like new, and then year two, you kind of knew what to expect, and you could read the signs a little earlier that it was going to be a bad season, and you're just like, no, it's like we don't have a tour, and you're like, okay, but this show's going to be
There's
going to be people
better.
at this show. There's got to be, and then it just keeps not happening, and it's kind of you're excited when it's over in its own way.
Well, we kind of talked about this idea that like you're taking that step back from touring now and you're trying to find a home life. So like what has that looked like for you?
It's a good question. I think it's kind of always been buried down there. I just didn't really realize it. I would make my home not here, make my home the van or something. Literally, I'd always be the one that would like sleep in the van at night because I was already there when I had to wake up and leave in the morning, and I got to have my own privacy of sorts when other people like wouldn't. There was no bathroom.
Yeah.
But like I could watch a show without having headphones in, or I could smoke weed instead of like having like, hey, sorry, could I go back down these 14 flights of stairs and go out the front and smoke? And they're like, why didn't you do that before? It was just always like, hey, I'm gonna stay in the van and I'll just kind of do my thing. And anyways, that now that I don't have the van, I have my house. And I get to work from home, doing some freelance web stuff, which has been a nice turn. I got into that because I thought I had to find something I could do from the road, or I was trying to. And then, of course, make tour worse, have like a shitty job that you're like, I mean, it wasn't shitty, but it's annoying work when people are like, no, my website, and you're like, okay, I'm in a van, seriously connecting through the hotspot on my phone and just trying to, oh man, it was like, why did I get into this? And it was nice some days when we'd have like a day off and I could work. That's always kind of what I wanted. But it's always you always want what you don't have. Then I'm like, damn it, why did I set this up so that I'm like working on my days off now? I'm just a constant, hypocrite. I think a lot of us are. But
And I thought about what if, moving forward, if I got into touring work as a former copywriter and editor and all that, that's something I could do from the road, just like you could do that, or graphic design or what have you. So that's kind of interesting to hear you say that you had tried that from the road and it was like not a good experience.
Well, I'm also, it's so, freelance is such a key word in the freelance web developer, because it just implies that I gotta find all my own work, which means that you're gonna like take anything.
Yeah.
Which means that it's like the people that don't want to hire people the real way, so they come find me. And that's how it started. I mean, it's definitely snowballed, and things are going a lot better now. But at first, I'm just dealing with like, friends of my parents, who's a teacher, who's got a blog, and these things that you're just like, you're working as a friend, you're working overtime, you're like, God, you're just always like putting so much more than a couple $100 you're getting paid for a thing. And
yeah.
But you got to put in that time, especially when you just find a brand new field. I'd never done anything like web stuff before. Always was scary. But then a couple of friends of mine were into it. I'm like, all right, you seem to be doing okay from home. What is this? And they just a couple of people pointed me in the right direction. And a really good friend, Alex Tryon, let me, we lived by each other. And I would just go over to his house, every day and do my work. Ask him how to fix this, how to do these things, and he just really without him, I wouldn't have gotten off the ground probably. So
almost like an apprenticeship kind of thing.
Yeah. If we weren't like best friends for 15 years, so it was like, he was in one of my bands that toured a lot, and so yeah, it's funny kind of, but we work well together. We'd worked in other jobs together too, so we just kind of knew how to like, hey, we're, you have to have a good. You got to be a good self-motivator to work from home.
I think so.
And it's other close friends of ours that have tried that, that have crashed and burned. It's like really easy to see, like, yeah, if you don't have the drive to like just go sit in that chair every morning, which sucks, but usually once you're going, it's not so bad. And I don't know.
A job is a job is a job wherever
it's never, yeah. No job you're like, this is great every single day. As long as you have more good days than bad days, I guess, is the point.
Have you ever worked like a normal... There's our fire's going out. Better give it a blow.
Might be a lost cause. Normal job, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Definitely. I don't know what normal means. But
what's like the most normal 9-to-5 kind of thing you've ever done?
Okay, maybe not normal. My first job when I was 16 was a Target cashier for 4 months. That felt like 10 years.
That's good.
Oh, I thought that was like the longest job. I can't believe how long I worked there at the time. It was like November to February maybe. And I hated it. Oh my God, I hated it. But then quickly got into food service and stuff.
You said you were a cook or a chef? Or?
Yeah, I cooked for years. That came a little bit later because I was just kind of like doing, bus boy stuff for a long time. And, anything that would let you leave for tour every couple weeks.
Yeah.
Or at that time, it was every couple months. It was usually every break in school. I would be gone from. I always tell the teacher like, oh yeah, I got a family. That, you got new teachers. Tends to be like every couple terms. So there's always like a thing. You take your finals early. You get out of town a little bit early. There's no point in waiting until the end of finals week. If you just ask them, they'll let you take a test early. But I just was, it was all about touring then. So I would just work any little crappy job. But then, then I got into cooking pretty seriously. Just one of those busboy to prep cook to, hey, our cook left, would you want to do this? And and I got really into it. My mom's a cook, been a cook my whole life. And I've always had, instinctual kitchen skills. And so I got really into it after college. After college is when I started learning how to, learn things. I learned about drumming. I learned about learning about drumming. I learned that I did learn all those years. It wasn't just having fun. It was I actually was learning, even though I just thought it was all fun. And so I just try to which I still use this state of mind a lot. I just try to just make whatever it is I'm doing, like the coding or whatever it is, just find a fun way to look at it. And then that coupled with progress like they each kind of are like, this is kind of cool today, and hey, I'm getting better at this, and it's just kind of like this positive, feedback thing that
It's just like finding the good in every little moment, even if it's mundane or whatever,
But I couldn't do that with anything. Like I hate writing, for example. I just hate
Really?
the act of writing. I don't mind talking, but I just like maybe I'm not fast enough. I just can't ever get my thoughts out, or I look at it, I'm like, that's stupid. Why did I write that? Like, I don't know. I just hate. So, like, for example, I don't think I could ever really teach myself to be a writer because, like, I don't want to be. But, like, I wanted to be a cook. I wanted to be a web developer. I wanted to be a drummer, Before that was baseball, and I was, checking out books in the library on, like, the fundamentals of catching and taking notes. I was just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just always kind of been part of me. But, yeah, I like, get into something. And there's no point in, like, being kind of good at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Though I feel like I kind of half-ass it with the web stuff because it's like I don't half-ass it, but like I'm trying to like make that a job. It's not really. I want to have a job. I don't necessarily want to be like a great coder because I'm not. And I think I have good like managerial skills. I've managed kitchen. I managed one kitchen for a while, and I learned a lot about myself. And a friend of mine told me once, he's like, "Yeah, man, why do the work when you get paid more to tell other people to do the work?" And that's not like it's a super easy task to manage people by any means. It takes a lot of your time. But, with a little experience managing, knowing that I'm good at it and like it, I'm a good self-manager as well. I was like, yeah. So in this kind of partnership I have business-wise, we got a little team. And I've slowly moving into kind of being a technical lead is my title, so I can, I know it has to get done, but you're better at it and faster, so why don't make sure everything's getting done on time and to a degree. Not that the people I work with need that, but it just back and forth, and
it's almost like a project lead.
Yes, exactly. Technical just being like technical projects lead.
Yeah.
But that's a term I just kind of found, and
sounds nice and fancy.
I'm growing into it.
Yeah.
I like it. Web developer is so broad, and then people think I'm like really good at it because I'm not.
How many years has that been then?
Like 3 years, I think.
Wow.
Coming up on 3 years since I wrote my first line of code.
And has it been basically since like that point? That's as you've kind of tapered off the whole touring aspect of your career, or how long has that been a thing?
So they overlap pretty heavily for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Which I'm like kind of when I'm like in the darkest days of my touring.
Yeah.
Because it really did feel. I mean, the last couple tours before my band Wild Ones called it quits were the best tours ever. But up before that, there'd be good ones, but it was just always kind of coupled with this like, yeah, it's good, but like, hemorrhaging money and being away from my dog and like Colette. Excuse me. It was just like I was just so unhappy. So just getting off the ground web development wise with terrible clients and kind of just being really dark about touring. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard because I was still doing the dance. I was a cab driver here for Radio Cab for 3 years.
Yeah.
Which was a great job when there was a ton of money there, but then when Uber and Lyft came, it just bottomed out.
Yeah.
I have very strong opinions about that still, but I had to get out of that field for a number of reasons because, man, doing the same stuff, going through the same stuff at the same hours in the middle of the night, every night with terrible clients for a fifth of the money you would make, 6 months before. It was just... So I was still doing that 2 nights a week, Friday and Saturday, while I was trying to learn the web stuff because I wasn't making any money. I was just sitting at home 5 days a week, just like doing online, YouTube classes and things that... There's a lot of actually cool resources to try to learn coding, but for free. But yeah, so the cab driving and the bad touring and start trying to learn the stuff and get the clients in. That was hard. And we lived in a tiny little studio, so
in town here still.
Yeah, a couple miles down the street, but yeah, that was hard. And then I don't know. After this year coming back last August from fish camp from Alaska, I cut all my hair off. I decided like, oh my God, I gotta propose. I gotta like do this.
It was like what clicked?
I don't know. I mean, the hair thing, I'm like, I have a inner dialogue, and one day I was just like, I need to like do something great for Colette this year when I come back.
Did she hate? I mean, you had some
She
big
didn't.
hair.
Yeah, my hair it was too big. It wasn't convenient. It didn't look very good. It was just like,
A hell of a
holy
man.
shit, look at that fucking hair. Like it. And anyways, I could tell she would prefer I cut it.
Yeah.
But she hadn't asked me to cut it for a while. I'm like, that's nice that she hasn't asked me.
Being nice about it.
So she didn't ask me to. I was like, hey, that would really, and being gone and just showing up with short hair. So I decided I was going to do that, and then I decided like I should get her a nice present. And then I was like, what should I get her? And I'm like, jewelry? No, I don't know. It's kind of hard to buy jewelry, and she doesn't wear a ton of jewelry. Then I thought about a ring, and then I was like, oh shit. And then it just kind of like, it just all like happened in my head at one point. I was just like, like I couldn't look in a mirror for a couple days. I was like, I don't know, man. I just never pictured myself a married person, We were happily, we've been together for over 7 years now, and
wow.
There was no plans on calling it quits by any means. So it was just like, I don't know. I don't think she realized, or she's told me she didn't realize that she wanted it either. But after, I popped the question and everything, I came back. It was just the next day after getting home. Took her out to the beach to a spot we like, and she didn't see it coming. I thought she did. I was like, she totally knows I'm acting so weird. Had one false start, like get on the ground. She like turned away, and I was like, no. Anyways, let's go over there. Plus, I didn't want it to be in front of like people because I don't want no clapping. Oh my god, no.
Yeah,
We're both
no
not.
Clapping.
Don't clap. Damn. Sorry.
At least it keeps the bugs away,
Yeah.
If there were any.
There are
gone.
some. Yeah, we're good. I don't know where I was, but
So fall starts.
oh yeah. Then
Just went for it.
yeah, she was just. It was a whole thing. It was great. We both were very happy.
Awesome.
Hi.
We have visitors.
Yeah, he lives next door.
Nice.
Kid. But yeah, that really, everything just kind of opened up after that. It was really weird because Wild Ones decided to call it quits in the same month. We had 2 like banger like last shows in a row at the Mississippi Studios here in town. That was probably the coolest thing I've ever been a part of musically. Just like everyone patting you on the back and congratulating you, and emotions everywhere.
Oh, I'll bet.
Because like when you start a band, you don't like think of like, oh, in 8 years when we can call this quits, it's gonna be amazing. It's not usually like that trajectory. You don't like graduate out of a band.
No.
So it was kind of cool to just like be in that position where everyone's just like really proud of you, and like me too. I don't know why, but obviously there was a lot. It was a lot. It's like a relationship with 5 people.
So now that so it's all settled down now. Do you feel like you found that happiness that you sought to find?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So far, I mean, it's only been like, I don't know, 8 months. And I'm still in band, I'm still in one band right now, Public Eye, that, we just, singer moved out of town and just finished a record that's getting mixed right now. So it's like kind of that lull phase anyways. Yeah. But yeah, just the fact that I don't have a tour that might be coming up in a couple weeks or a couple months, or just to be able to plan out like a trip that's for Colette and I, instead of, hey, we're going to wrap up in LA and then we have 5 days until we pick back up. Do you want to come meet? There's always a caveat to, we've had some amazing adventures in Europe, Colette and I, but it's always on the side of a tour, and she comes on the tour for a while, and that's great and all, but it's just me-centric. And it's nice to just be only like
you two.
We're just like one little team. Yeah. And it was like that before, but she is a saint. Just like, I expected her to understand that I had all these obligations, but like she didn't have to understand that. And she didn't like it every time I'd leave, but she would do double time. We got this dog that takes a lot of care, and she doesn't drive. She's from New York. She never never learned to drive out there, and
Still doesn't drive.
Wow. So And of course, everything goes terribly wrong with the dog when I'm out of town.
Yeah.
Terribly. Only the worst things happen right when I leave. And so, you got to get a cab, or you got to get a friend, or if I was here, it'd just be that much simpler. And so, yeah, I don't know. All these little things are just working out. It's weird. I kind of like every day, and I think she has the same feeling. Like, we're both like, fuck, this is sick. Like, how did we get here? Like, things were good before, but now things just feel it's like they're really starting to settle down in a good way. Not like a boring way, but like I am happy. Like, when the touring, I'd ask myself, am I happy doing this? No. There were days that were amazing. Often, that end with like, partying, getting drunk, and just being like, God, this is great. And then you wake up and you're like, here I am, driving to Santa Fe from Phoenix, and it's so hot, and I gotta hide my weed in Arizona, or I might go to jail with a felony. Just like all these things are like, why don't I just stay at home, take care of my plants, walk my dog, make some money, not a ton, but like some, and Well, I can take care of my diet now too. Things that like you just so out of
like a freaking personal trainer now. Like,
kind of. It's just been a couple months, but
hey, that's still something.
I
That's great.
love it. I know things that I can like start to dig my feet in the ground with instead of like, yeah, cool. I'll do good with my diet for a couple weeks, but then I got to go out of town for 3 weeks, and we're eating Del Taco, and we're we go to Whole Foods every day, but like that's for one meal. Then you play a place, and you
That's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think I'm in kind of a similar position. I kind of probe because it's like, I've thought about doing the touring thing. And
have you never toured?
No. 29, never toured.
You never toured?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought you had with our conversations.
No.
You're on the road.
Yeah, I mean, this is my tour.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm happy I'm doing it on my terms, because I think about a week of getting into Portland, I felt like, I don't know if I would want to do this in a band.
Yeah.
You can't stop when you want to stop, or
no. You just have to trim all that stuff.
Yeah.
First couple of years you do, especially when you're like teenagers.
Sure.
And you're just full of energy, and you've never been to these places before.
Yeah.
Or never like with a band. You might have been to LA, but like, or something. But when you're just there with your friends, it's just like a whole new experience, and everything's fun, and this burrito's the best burrito I've ever had, and all these things that are just like enough to get you through. But then it just, the shows in my life, the shows have slowly gotten better over the years. Sure. But there was never like this drastic like, oh, now you're like getting paid and staying in.
I think you got to get lucky. I mean,
you do. I've had this talk, maybe with you too.
I think I told you. I mean, this might have been a conversation we had, but it's like, of all the people I know, like, there's only one person or one band with two people I know in the camp that have been able to tour on buses and make salaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
from all the people, same with me.
Everyone.
I know, about 2 or 3 people that
in our generation
can. Well, one of the. It's just near impossible.
Yeah.
Unless just everything just kind of falls your way, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be bitter about it, because like I love my past and like the things I've gotten to do, and they're genuinely I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Except it would be nice if,
had to have gotten to that
one of those just shows that, and there's constantly that carrot in front of you.
Yeah.
That's what.
I think that's what keeps us going, though.
It is. But after a while, after you realize that you're just like going in a circle, and you know what it means. Especially, it's just hard having a booker and a manager. Our manager has since, and was for most of the time of the band, been one of my favorite people, one of my closest friends.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, now that we're not managed by him anymore, we're still very close friends.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird having someone tell you things you have to do that you don't want to do. That's also like a really good friend of yours, and knowing that bookers and managers are making money while telling you to go sleep on the floors and go away from your families and go not make any money. It was just like, guys, I hear you, but it's just, this isn't a sustainable lifestyle by any means, unless you're really young or you're independently wealthy, you know. I'm not opposed to touring by any means. I'd have to be compensated not a lot, just enough to like make it viable, that I'm not like constantly losing money and going into debt to just pay to play. It's so hard.
I know.
And it sucks because it's such a cool thing, you know, like it talking about it, it's great, you know. I wish I love going to New York and seeing the friends and family and playing shows, and just that rhythm of seeing people like that is great, because I don't get to do that as much now, at least not on the band's dollar, right?
Sure.
When I do it now, it's more targeted and purposeful, which is nice. But it was just kind of fun, just like always seeing weird friends that you wouldn't see in Chicago, or, you know, just dancing around the country. There's plenty of things I miss, but you just got to get paid a little bit, you know?
I know. I think it's just, I think the problem is everything's so diluted now. I guess there's no one big band that everyone listens to.
No.
You know, it's not a Beatles era. It's not a Michael Jackson era.
There's like genres, and then like the Beatles of those genres.
And there's so many genres and subgenres.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it gets so segmented that,
big time.
I think it can be just as rewarding, but it's not going to be as prosperous. You know, as an artist now, you normally have to have some other means of income, whether it's working a corporate gig and then saving up a bunch of money, or continuing to do the web work. You know, you have to have and to hustle. You know, you have to have these other things that give you the privilege of being an artist nowadays.
Yeah, it's because of being oversaturated. I mean, man, this example like spreads throughout, not just music, but even a lot of different facets of music, where like there is so much talent, and people are so eager to like perform and be in a band, that places like venues, I feel like, get away with
gouging,
near murder when it comes to the way that they treat bands and what they give bands. Because if you get all mad or whatever, they're like, okay, fine, we don't need you here anymore. We literally have a huge line of people dying to play here. So between the venues getting to do, you know, and there's a couple amazing venues that treat people the way they should and are good people, you know, Mississippi Studios for sure. There's a couple, 930 Club. Oh man. And just when you feel like, you guys want me here, and you're like treating me like there are people here to, you know, you just always feel like you're the only one. Oh, the Sinclair as well in Boston. Holy crap, they were amazing.
It's a jammer.
Yeah, but I heard that's like maybe opened by old hardcore dudes that like, you know, did DIY shows and kind of understand what it means to cook a meal, have a shower, you know, crazy things to ask for if you're on the road. Shoot, what were you saying?
The privilege of being an artist.
The privilege of being an artist. Yeah, it's just that people just take advantage of it.
Yeah, at every level. No, and I mean that's the same way in the recording world too. I mean, I know there are 800 guys in line behind me to try to do some of the things that I've done.
Totally, yeah.
And sometimes these guys who are as good or better than me are charging a third of the price of what I'm charging to perform this service.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you even compete?
I
charge a very nominal fee.
Sure.
To record.
Yeah.
I mean, some drummers are charging $50 a track or less to record a full song for you. So you're talking about hours of work, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment.
That's a very little amount of money.
It is a very little amount of money.
I guess it depends on the song, but man, some songs are worth more than $50 of one's time.
So I totally get it, and I think that's why I'm trying to find a way now to make it, create a job. I think I'm I'm also, I became disillusioned with the idea of a career after my last gig, thinking I was going to have, I can ride this out for 30, 40 years, the same company, and
The copywriting job?
yeah.
You really thought that was like
I thought
a
it was gonna be the
multi-decade?
thing. I thought it was going to be the thing, and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all by
Yeah.
the end of it.
It's good you listen to yourself, because
Yeah.
many people don't.
So many
you know.
people don't, dude. I think that's, and I think I might have said this on, I don't know, maybe this. No, I think it was when I did the Drum Brigade podcast.
Okay,
Shout out
okay.
to those guys, Corey
Yeah.
and Phil. But no, and I mentioned the idea that it was like the last 2 weeks I was sitting in my cube. So many of these people, many of them like 40 to about 60 years old, would come up and say like, oh, I'm so proud of you for doing this. Like this is, I wish I would have had the gall to have gone and done something like this when I was younger. And it's like,
Yeah.
all you got to say is, bye-bye. Like it's...
I mean, you played in bands. You
Yeah.
were around musical, artistic people. And I think when you run in those circles, you don't run in the circles of like people going to law school and medical school, and like where your only trajectory was school to like a lot of school to like
Big money.
interning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you don't, I'm assuming with you and as myself, like I get pretty creative sometimes, and I need to like, I don't know, need freedom for an extended period of time. How do I make money for a little while, or just like I've had nothing to fall back on many times and made it work when other people maybe have only had their job their
This is
whole
the
life.
first time I'm doing that my whole life.
Ever? Even when you were playing in bands when you were younger?
I was always in school. I got my degree, and then I was always working a 40.
Damn.
Yeah.
Respect. So you're taking a bit of a leap.
Well, yeah, because I think, the thing is, I mean, like, your dad is in real estate, right?
Yeah.
So, like, runs his own thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that in some conscious or unconscious way, that would feed your idea that, well, really, you should be able to go and do your own thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I come from a long line of, it was like sheep herders in Europe, but then it was like all factory workers here in the States.
Okay.
And now my parents are still employees. That's the thing, is I come from a line of employees.
Wow.
No one has ever branched off and started a business or even started a side hustle.
Really?
So
Yeah, it's kind of just
I'm the
like built
first-
into you.
first one to try to figure this whole thing out, which is terrifying.
It works out. It's usually I think so. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But so far, I don't know. It's just fun to be able to meet with you in my backyard at 3:00 in an afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, this couldn't happen if I had a real job,
Yeah.
or if I was on tour.
So there's benefits. Well, and your plants. We mentioned your plants. We got some plots out here that you've been working on.
Yeah.
You
This
got a
is my
pile of
newest
sweet
addition.
potatoes budding in your office.
Oh, I can't wait to put them in the ground. They can't go in the ground until mid to late May, I think. They're tropical. I never do that.
Sweet potatoes?
Sweet
are
potatoes.
tropical?
Not related to potatoes.
At all.
No. Sweet potatoes are in the marigold family.
Oh,
Potatoes are in the
wow.
nightshade family.
Really?
Yeah, they're just different. They look very similar.
Well, and what's so interesting, yeah, because and it makes sense now because you had to get those things going inside. Whereas,
Yeah.
back home when my grandma
Chuck a
had,
potato in the ground.
yeah, you cut the freaking potato up, put it in the ground,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
Yeah, sweet potatoes could do that,
Yeah.
but not in like February or March here. And it's just, this is kind of the foolproof way. Just put them in water like an avocado seed, and they grow their little plants. You cut them off, root those, and those end up going in the ground. They're gonna be all viney. They're gonna grow up my fence. I'm
Really?
excited. Yeah, I've been
And
eating
then
them.
they're just potatoes that are they in the
No,
ground?
they
or
grow in the ground.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
but
then you
the-
just have a cool vine.
Yeah, you'll see sweet potato plants like for sale at flower shop and plant shops just because their leaves are just like really ornamental. They're pretty, so people will grow them just for to have
that.
a house plant. But yeah, they will produce.
One little potato.
Actually, quite a bit. There's two kinds. There's one that they drop all their sweet potatoes in one place, even though they vine out.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones that kind of crawl and then kind of have more sweet potatoes here, but those kind of have to vine along the ground.
Interesting.
I don't know what I have, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna find out.
These are just from new seasons.
You just bought potatoes and just decided.
Yeah, well, I heard they got to be organic, because if you get ones from that aren't organic, because they breed them. I don't know what that
like
would.
Dogs. You got a purebred potato?
No, they modify them so that they won't grow these long slips. Because like if you have them sitting in your kitchen, you don't want them looking like they're trying to reproduce, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, my mom just sent me a picture of a sweet potato on her counter yesterday with just this huge slip, they call it. So I walked her through how to snip it and root it, and a couple months it'll be good to go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing like plants as a hobby? Horticulture?
That's a good word. Yeah, I call it gardening. I mean, I don't know, because I do indoor gardening all year long, and then outdoor. I'm trying to do it all year long. There's ways to, winter and fall, have your garden. You just got to do it a little differently. But, I mean, on and off often. When I was a kid, my mom had like a big garden.
Really?
And I just
was that just back in California, or is that
no? That was
too?
Up here,
okay.
In Garden Home Southwest. I didn't love it at the time by any means, but now when I like smell like bark chips or something, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm like a baby for a second. It's like it just must have been some of those moments in the garden with my mom. But then I've always been into plants, like in theory. But if you're like a messy punk kid in like punk houses, plants don't do so hot.
That's probably right. Yeah.
So I had to. So then anyway, I studied geography in college at PSU here with the same friend Alex Tryon, who got me into coding. We both lived together, bands together, studied geography together.
Wow.
And then at one of the houses we lived at, we're like, hey, because I was vegan and I was doing a lot of like food projects at school and working with different co-ops.
Yeah.
And farms and all this stuff, and I had a decent plot of land at the place we were renting, and we just tore the whole backyard up. It was huge, bigger than this backyard, and the whole thing we just turned it, had a chicken coop with probably a dozen chickens and quail and ducks, and
seriously.
And then we just had no idea what we were doing, but made a lot of necessary mistakes back then, and then danced around a couple houses without yards, and then an apartment for many years with Colette before this, and then we got here, and I don't know. I just got to like stretch my arms and just get to start planting stuff, and it's addicting if you're me, at least. I mean, once you just every day something just like bigger and cooler and stronger, and now it's giving you tomatoes and zucchinis and Colette and I met cooking, and she still cooks, and she's an incredible cook, far superior to my culinary skills, and so it's just a nice kind of rhythm of me growing stuff and her cooking it, and
that's super rad.
Grilling, we love grilling. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's super rad. Well, I think that was a good conversation.
I think it was a great conversation.
We got Alaskan fishing.
Yeah.
We got smoking weed, and we got planting potatoes.
Yeah, we didn't talk too much drumming.
No, that's the point of this.
Okay, good.
I think we did good. I hope we did good.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to drums, though, for sure.
Yeah, shout out to drums for being there.
They're key.
If people want to find out more about the Chevy Chase life, where do they find Seve online?
Well, I guess my drum lesson site is drumlessons.sevesheldon.com.
Wow.
I don't really have like I'm a drummer website. I guess
I'mADrummer.com.
the lessons are on the lessons page, it you get a quick summary, a couple links to videos.
And you're incredibly talented too. I mean, I've had so many of your I've heard you're playing, and I've had so many of your students come up to me in the shop, and they're just like, "Oh, Seve's teaching me this, that, or the other," and it's just blowing my mind.
Warms my heart. Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're a Portland drummer and you want your mind blown,
I mean,
the Seve experience.
Students, yeah. No, it's teaching's been the coolest thing about drums. That's another thing, actually. Before we wrap it up,
all right.
I was teaching drums the last couple of years of touring, but I could never really amass like a bunch of students because
They want the regular.
Well, yeah, I just couldn't. The second I'd have a new student for a week or two, and then I'd be gone for 5 weeks, and then I'd come back and they'd be like, "Oh, no, I'm not doing it anymore." "Oh, I found another teacher, thanks." Or like, that's fine. Like, the whole goal is get people to drum for sure.
Right.
But obviously, I wanted to like kind of get some students, because I really enjoy the teaching aspect. It's cool. It's great, and it's a different way to play drums all the time.
Yeah.
And one goal I kind of set myself a couple of years ago. Actually, there's two goals that I set kind of out of nowhere in my head. But one was like, meet some more drummers in town, because I was just so involved in the punk scene that drumming wasn't really what I thought I was into. It was like the punk stuff. But then we got a little older, and I joined a band that wasn't in so deep in the punk scene. Started meeting other drummers, and all these things just kind of started happening. And then Revival happened, and they've just opened the door to everything drum wise. So they've been everything without them.
Right.
So coupled with not touring and moving from my old studio to now teaching at Revival, they're just enablers. They just help you just become a better drummer and just help you. They've helped me. Jake's always recommending students to check me out. And,
Yeah.
I've heard some lovely stories from people about Jake and his passion for this whole thing. And
Yeah.
all of them, Jose, Carrie,
Yeah. The whole crew.
Ryan,
Dude.
those guys are just not just keeping it alive. They like reignited. I feel like what it means to care about drumming in this town.
So.
There's always drum shops around, but Revival just feels a lot different, more real, more like
Feels good.
like this isn't just like Yamahas and Gibraltar stuff. It's like, and I'm not even like a gear freak by any means, but I don't,
Well, just to get exposure to that other stuff too, and to be able to sit down at it for whatever, even if it's a minute. I think.
Just hitting it,
Playing
just
these
feeling
old drums.
Yeah.
It enables for me something in my head to play to that set.
Yeah. You got to play to the set. Yeah.
If I'm playing, I'm not going to play a Radio King the same way I'm going to play a Recording Customer, the same way I'm going to play a,
the straight up beat is going to be just different that comes out.
Yeah.
But also the social aspect to Revival. I mean, I
think I love it that so one day I went in there and the whole group of drummers was around the counter talking about feminism. And then the next time I came in,
big time.
And they were talking about the things Paul Stanley says in between Kiss songs. And then
I've had both these conversations with them.
And then the next time it was Jake and this old dude talking about Jewish funeral norms and rituals. For like an hour. Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was really interesting.
It's just Revival and drumming is just, I think, a great take on life.
Yeah.
a great lens to look at life through. I mean, drumming specifically. Revival is just like the best version of that. Those dudes are just extremely well-rounded, good people. So that the drumming, the people, yeah, man.
Super rad.
Things are great.
So shout out to drums. Shout out to Revival.
Shout out to Revival.
And drumlessons.sevesheldon.com. SEVESHELDON.
Very good.
.com.
Yeah.
And on the gram, you're on the gram.
Yeah, Spider Sex on the gram.
Spider Sex.
Yeah.
Or Spiders X.
Spiders
really,
X.
Which,
yeah.
If you're 5, Spiders X.
Spiders X.
Yeah. There you go. Seve, thank you so much
Tim,
for having me out in your backyard.
Yeah,
and
love
hanging out with your doggo.
No, she's chilling.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.